Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on their fight story. We have an amazing fighter, Ron Marshall, who will be with us tonight. He is actually training and representing Anubis MMA from Jazz Boxing. Ron, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I see you have a little guest on your end.
Yes, this is my daughter, Sophie.
Hi.
Hi, Sophie. How are you?
From
Sophie was a big fan of podcasts, and when she heard that I was going to be on, she was very excited to come and sit in.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you, Sophie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ron, what motivated you to start training?
Well, let's see. Let's go back about
2016.
very close, 2015, about 10 years ago. Yeah, just
2025.
so about 10 years ago, just started training, and I was, I think I was at a barbecue. I remember it vividly. I was at a barbecue at a friend of mine's, and they were all talking about prior fight experiences and stuff like that. And it's something I always like to do growing up, wrestling, never really having any wrestling background experience, but wanting to learn how to wrestle and fight. A bunch of my buddies that had previously fought for Cage Titans and other promotions, CES, some of the premier organizations around here, and they were on this team called Anubis. And so that's kind of where it sparked. It sparked at a barbecue one time. Said, "Oh, you should come down and train." And then I showed up one day, and I never left.
Awesome. What impact has martial arts had in your life?
Um, well, it's had several. It's taught me discipline. It's taught me hard work will lead to the results that you want. It's also given me camaraderie, brothership, um, brotherhood, a place to go, and just kind of release anything that's inside of you, and a chance to build something up that's special together with other people. It's been very impactful in my life, and through the good times and the bad.
Awesome. How has it shaped you into the man that you are today?
Well, it's forced me to sit and reflect a lot and learn and grow, and I think it's I think it's impacted me greatly in that sense, in the fact that everything's not always going to go your way, but I took more from the times that it didn't go my way and the lessons that I learned in that, and the value in that. So yeah, it's been a journey, and I've learned through mixed martial arts to, in due time, right at the time maybe I'm going through it, it wasn't as easy, but in due time I've understood to enjoy the journey, not as much as the destination, but enjoy the journey of where you're going and how you got there, and understand that there's value in it all, and that there's a reason for it all.
Yeah. Now, your last fight was in 2023.
2003.
What made you, or what made this fight interesting for you to take?
um well, it just seemed like this was the right time. Not necessarily this fight. I've been looking for a fight for a little while now. I want to say going back to like November, I was trying to get on a cage as far card as far back as November, but it's just the right time in my life to give it another shot. And yeah, it's been a couple of years since I fought, so um, now it just seemed like the right time for me to go back at it. And some so you don't really know why you're waiting while it's happening, but then I got the opportunity, and I'm very grateful for that, and I make the most of it.
Awesome. What do you know about your opponent?
What do I know about him? I know that I think he's young. He's younger than me. He's very talented. He's skilled. He works with a good team. He has good coaches, and very accomplished. So I know all of those things. I know that he's going to push me to the brink to be my best and bring out the best in me, and that's what excites me for this one.
Yeah, I see looking back that you've been fighting a lot of high level opponents. What is it that you are thinking when you or when your coaches select these opponents of yours?
So that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that one too, because a lot of people I hear them say, and even more recently, I've gotten some feedback from people that the fights that you don't take matter more than the fights that you do take, and you want to get to where you're going, then you need to let the coaches make the decisions. But from the very beginning, I've always made my own decisions, and some people would say that's not smart, but for me, I ultimately always wanted to challenge myself, and the way I challenged myself was by going up against very high level people. And even at the time, admittedly, I won't say I wasn't ready, but a lot of the times I wasn't ready probably, at the time to face these caliber of athletes, these caliber of guys. But I did so, and I learned through it all, and I grew through it all. And sometimes my coaches would advise me, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that. And it's just like, I never wanted to be one that was going to pick my fights. I wanted to just, if an opportunity came my way, I said yes. And it just so happened to be that a lot of the fights were against very, very tough opponents. So, um, yeah, just forced me to grow a lot in those times. And that's kind of the decision based behind it, is that I wanted to be able to know to myself that, there's no one that I wouldn't fight. There's no one that I wouldn't step up to, and I take extreme pride in that. And not everybody can say that, and that's just where I was at with those decisions.
Now, you said you weren't ready. Were you not prepared as far as being mentally prepared or physically prepared or maybe emotionally prepared? Because what people don't understand is that fighters go through a lot. And while they're training, things happen that impact, your mental state, your emotional state, your physical state. So, were any of that at all an impact on your previous fights?
They all were, actually, and you kind of summed it up perfectly there. At times, I wasn't prepared physically, meaning that I wasn't in the best shape. I would go through really tough weight cuts at times, where I'd have to lose like 15 to 20 pounds the week of the fight. I'd completely dehydrate myself, and I'd push myself to the brink just to get on the scale to be able to make the weight. I never once missed weight. I never once backed out of a fight, and so sometimes that took a toll on me. Um, Mentally, when I first went into my first fight as an amateur was against Stephen Kimball, and it was a tough fight for me. I came out guns blazing. I sort of was like a bull in a cage, just got a bull in a china shop. And the next fight, I fought Fabio, and I got a win. And so after that fight, it was I started taking these loss after loss after loss, and like you mentioned, they were against very high caliber people, but it took a toll on me mentally, and yeah, so then my mental state became impaired at times, and I was just the confidence, my confidence wasn't where it needed to be.
Mhm.
And then emotionally, like you said, things can happen in training, receiving a lot of negativity and almost bullying at times from certain people in the MMA community. And it was hard to deal with. It was hard to deal with, and people sort of ganged up on me and bullied me and would make fun. And in my head, I was always thinking, here I am fighting all these killers, and yet I'm getting no. Not that I need to get recognition for it, but at least give me some respect and understand that I'm fighting all these guys. I've never said no to anybody, and so that, yeah, I was affected mentally, physically, and emotionally at times, and that's kind of what that was prevalent in a lot of training camps and things like that. So you look back on it, and now I'm able to see the bigger picture and understand. At the time, I was going through it though, so it was a little bit different. So
Yeah. What's different now compared to your past experiences?
what's different now is my consistency, my confidence, my clarity, my training methods, my eating habits, my daily habits, my faith, my relationship with God,
Hmm.
my nutrition. I mean, everything about me is different. I'm a completely different person, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and it took a long time to get here. It took a long time to get here. You ain't packing a bunch of weight now either. I'm on.
How are you finding the balance between your personal life and your fight career? You're a father. How are you balancing everything?
Well, see that's the thing that a lot of people they just see guys show up in the cage and they see people fight and you're cheering or you're booing and then negativity can come from certain places. People don't understand how much sacrifice it takes to actually
Mhm.
put this game if you want to go and try to really show up and do something. And so I'm glad you asked that question. And right now it's tough. It's tough to find balance. I give my all at work. I work full time as well. I'm in a leadership role, and I'm asked to do a lot in my workplace. Um, and my family, it's tough. It's tough to be able to, as much as I've been training, I promised my family after this fight we're gonna spend some quality time together because finding a balance when is tough when you have to, if you really want something, there's certain things that have to be sacrificed, and I'm doing the best I can. And but that's one thing that I struggle with at times. I pray on it a lot, is that um, I know the dedication and the commitment it takes to want to get the results that I want. And at times in the past, I know that I didn't go where I needed to go as far as the training and the commitment that was needed. And so my family's been very understanding of it, and they've blessed me and told me, we understand. We want you to give it your all, and we're supporting you, and that means the world to me. And so I do my best to balance it. Um, and I'll be happy when this fight's over to spend some time with my family and my friends and all the people who are supporting me.
Yeah, that's very important to have a great support system. Um, Many people go into the cage um, preparing themselves to fight, but they don't prepare themselves for that mental and emotional aspect when they don't have that support of their partner, of their children. And it's very, very draining. People don't really understand that the emotional aspect is sometimes more draining than the actual physical training that you're doing because it's a load that you're dealing with on top of the training, the mental training that you're trying to balance. And it's very tricky. And once you have it, it's very important that you hold on to it. And like you said, you're going to give your family your time and be appreciative of it, because those are holidays that are being missed, birthdays that are being set back, um, even anniversaries at times. And, we appreciate it, but, it's very important, thank you to your family for being there for you and supporting you because sometimes those are like the unsung hero. Nobody really notices that they're also being sacrificed. And somebody once said that it's not a sacrifice, it's a style and it's a choice. But when you look at it, it is part of a sacrifice.
It is a sacrifice because I'll tell you, there's been times where my daughter started crying and she's told me I miss you and I love you and I want to spend more time with you, and to me that's heartbreaking. But um, I know what I'm after. I know the goals that I'm chasing, and I know this isn't going to be forever, right? And I know what's most important in life is God, faith, and family, and I know those things come first above anything else. So this is just something that I'm doing, but these are my people. This is my life,
Mhm.
and so yeah. One thing I've been able to do a lot better this time around, as far in regards is to balance, is getting a proper nutrition, getting the proper amount of sleep, um, listening to my body during training, right? Doing everything that I can in that sense. And then, yeah, like you said, they're most definitely the unsung heroes. My wife has been my biggest support system. She's always encouraging me. She's speaking life into me, and yeah, I'm very blessed to have the support of my family.
Yeah. What personal values or beliefs are connected to this goal that you have?
What personal values and beliefs? Yeah, the biggest one is God for me, and that my relationship with God and my faith is what's been pushing me. It's what allowed me to turn my life around and just be the best version of myself. And I put God first in everything in my life. I pray about everything. I thank God for everything. I put gratitude first. I ask for nothing. I try to be of service of others in any way that I can. Um, you know, I, I I spoke about it last night. I was on an interview with Mike Paul Beer, and I just told him that I made a lot of lifestyle changes, and that doesn't happen overnight, but it happens with consistency. It
Mhm.
happens, um, it happens with stacking up good days and making the best choices and putting yourself in good positions and surrounding yourself with good people. And when you start to do that, you start to notice that everything in your life changes. And
Mhm.
then that once you get there, you have to hold on to it. And that's where I've been. And those are kind of where my values and my beliefs are. But my inner belief system is that when I fought all those guys, I fought all these guys with the knowing that I can be there. I can do this with these guys if I just believe in myself. And so that's kind of been my biggest thing now is just my confidence. And those are some of the values and some of the things that I bring with me.
Now, you said you, with this career path, where is it that you wanted to go? I know you said that it wasn't going to be forever, but what is it that you expect or want out of this fight path?
Right now, I just want to get this win, and from there, I'm really not focused on anything else. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm solely focused on this opportunity and this
Hmm.
thing in this moment, and then from there we'll see. So everyone, that's what another question someone asked me. Is this something you just want to come back and get one win? Is this something you want to keep pursuing? Um, Ultimately, I want to run it as far as I can, but I'm focused on what's right in front of me,
Hmm.
and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, because I've seen, through the years that um, we have fighters, but we have fighters that are fighters and fighters that just want to say they're a fighter. So it's kind of like, I just want to fight, get in the ring, get in the cage, and that's it, be done with it. So their mental process, their mental state, their mindset is completely different from a fighter who may not want to go to the UFC, but does want to be a successful fighter. Now, when you hear other fighters saying, "Hey, I want to go to the UFC. Hey, I want to do this." How do you feel your mindset is different from theirs?
Um, those are great goals, and my mindset's no different than any of them. I think ultimately that you wanna show up and you want to start stacking wins and you want to run it as far as you can to the top, and whether that's the UFC, PFL,
Hmm.
Championship, Bellator, any of these promotions, right? And of course the local promotions, all these I've always been very grateful to be a part of any show that I'm on, right? And I think my mindset is I'm very determined. Um, if it doesn't show with I'm still here 10 years later, um, I'm still going. I haven't stopped. This is a
Hmm.
lifelong for me. Fighting or not, I'm gonna continue to train, and I've continued to train. And yeah, I might not fight, every fight card. There was a time
Hmm.
period fighting consistently, for years and years, and every couple of months I was getting in there, and so things happen in life, and you go through things, and then uh, yeah, here I am. So. Um, I have a very strong mindset. I'm very strong-willed. I'm determined, and yeah.
Looking back at all your fights, which is the one that stands out the most, whether it was in your amateur career or your current professional career?
this is a story that not many people know at all because the fight didn't happen around here, and so it's just it's a good opportunity to talk about this one. Um, you always hear about like this promoter, you be careful with him, this or that. So I wouldn't say I got roped into this, but it was something that someone said that when I had told them that, and I said no, I didn't get roped into anything because I agreed to go down and do it. But the story was I got offered to fight this guy, Patrick the Brick Brady, who was a heavyweight, and I took the fight at heavyweight. At the time I weighed 198 pounds. And so I didn't realize he was as big as he was, but I think the promoter told me he was like 240 pounds or something. But when he stepped on a scale, he was 257 pounds, and this guy's a monster. He's like 6'5". We fought down in Delaware, so I go down to the fight. I fly into Pennsylvania. I have to drive 2 hours into Delaware. It's a nightmare situation. It's my coach's birthday. The day before the fight, so he ends up missing a flight, comes down the day of. I have to drive down and get him at the airport the day of the fight, come back, barely make the fight. But at the weigh-ins, I weighed 198 pounds. I had to drink a gallon of water and eat a sub just to make 206 to make the heavyweight limit to get on the scale to fight this guy, right? And it's just one of those things that I went through that when I got in there, just this, I mean, I'll be vulnerable here. The sheer size of this guy, it scared me at the time. I got nervous, and I was thinking to myself, how did I end up in this position? Well, I ended up in this position because I wanted to challenge myself. So I got down there. I lost in the second round of the fight, but when I came out of it, I'm like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm not injured. I mean, my leg was very sore. Damn, kicked my leg off. But this guy was fucking huge. This guy was very strong. And, right after I fought the guy, he's sitting there sparring with Ngannou. He's the same size as Francis Ngannou, right? And so nice guy, humble guy. We chatted after the fight, everything like that. But that's the one that stands out to me the most, that I put myself in the fire, I like to call it. And I went down there, and I mean what I say. I've never run from anything, and I've always there's something that gets me going when I know that I'm going up against somebody who can do some damage to me, and I know that I can also do that same damage. So at the time, I got scared, and it didn't go my way, but I was there and I got through it. And so it's just one of those things that I think back on and reflect on. And it's like, if you can get through that, you can get through anything. And that's kind of the one that stood out to me the most.
Now, besides that fight, looking back, what fight helped you build you in a different way, as far as, either mentally, physically, emotionally?
Well, I think I could say it was a rivalry, with Fabio, we fought 3 times, and now I think we have a lot of respect for each other. But at the time, we were kind of going back and forth a little bit, and it just helped me. It helped grow me as a person. We fought it twice as amateurs and once as a pro, and he pushed me. He pushed me to be better. I know I pushed him, and I fought William Knight. I fought a lot of these very high level guys. Jesse McElliott, who was a Brazilian black belt, was one of renowned on the East Coast, and I went 3 rounds with him. Just all these opportunities that I had where, I showed up. I showed up for myself. I showed up in them, and I got through them. So I'd say the biggest one was Fabio. He pushed me to be better, and even when we fought as pros, and then we got through it. We have a very, very, very good amount of respect for each other now. Looking back on it, at the time, we didn't. And so I think that was cool to be able to go through something with somebody and still be able to have respect for each other at the end is really what matters the most to me. Shake hands and say good fight and go on your way, but ultimately respect the other person. We have families, we have lives, this is just a sport that we're doing, and I'm all about respect. I've always been all about respect, and it's probably the one right there. Sticks out to me the most, helped me grow the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you guys have fought 3 times. I know that, when people look at your fight career, well, back it up a second. When they don't look at who you're fighting, they make their assumptions. And that's why I always say never look at so much as their record. You have to look at who they've been fighting. Now, when people look at your fight record and they see who you've been fighting, I mean, I'm hoping they give you a little bit more respect because you have these fighters that other people have backed down to. They're saying, "Yep, no, I'm not going to fight them." And then next thing you know, you're sitting a Saturday afternoon, evening with your family, and all of a sudden you see one of your opponents on the UFC. So how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really good. Um, Again, just knowing that there's nothing that's ever been offered to me that I wasn't willing to do, and that says a lot about me because it helped me grow, it helped me learn, but just also it puts into perspective that like yeah, I mean there's a lot of people that like to talk this or that, and they're easy to point from a couch or type from a keyboard and say this or say that, but half of them would never stand up or do or go through the things that I've gone through, and I always keep that in perspective, and I know that that's helped build my confidence along the way as well, and that's part of that journey for me. So yeah, it's special. I think it's special to know that I fought those guys. Just fighting those guys, it wasn't enough for me. So I know, like I said, I like to think I always know what I'm capable of, and I didn't ever showcase it to the best of my ability. But it's definitely it's good to know that. It's good to see that and to see those guys and just know like, hey, I was in there with them. It's like
Hmm.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's one thing people don't understand. Well, maybe fighters do, but just not fans. You always go into the cage, but it doesn't mean that the plan that you wanted to execute actually happens. Your game plan is subject to change whenever that door closes. What inspires you to just keep going no matter what?
I have an indestructible will. I have something burning inside of me that just says, try again, and that's what it's all about for me. Just getting back up, fall down 7 times, stand up 8, and that's basically the main thing. It's just my main motivation is just part of it. Like I said, I wasn't always prepared in the past, and it just mentally, physically, whatever it was. Um, the thing that motivates me now to get back up is just knowing that if I do everything right, and I have done, and I have been, and I've transformed my life, and I'm a different person. If I do all that, and then let's just go see what happens, and now let's try it one more time. Let's see what happens. That's it. I've been through every experience about that you can be through in a cage. I've gone 3 rounds. Been submitted. Um, Once I've been TKO'd or twice maybe. I've been through almost every situation you can, and I've won and I've lost, and I know what it all feels like. So now it's time to put it all together, and it's time to go out and give my best effort as the best version of myself, and that's what gets me going now. Is that I'm not gonna have any regrets when it's all said and done. I'm gonna be able to say no matter what, I did everything I could, and I did it the right way, and that's what really fires me up right now.
Why is this so important to you?
This is so important to me because um, this is very important to me because I got a chance to prove to myself um, what it really means to go after something and to never give up. I have that never give up attitude, that never back down attitude, and now I'm standing on something behind it. I've put the work in, I've put the hard work in, I have clarity in my life, right? I have confidence. I have support. I have it's just very meaningful to me. You know, like I didn't go through everything I went through um, just to go and do it. Okay, it led me back to this point right now to go and break through, and this is the breakthrough for me. Um, this is what I've been waiting for a long time. So you got people who like to say, you know, you don't know what you're getting into or this and that. I know exactly what I'm getting into, and that's why I'm here. I could have very easily said no to a bunch of guys Mike offered me and found someone from another state or this or that, whatever, right? I didn't. Um, whether he was this is his first pro fight or not, this kid's a problem, right? I think I understand that. And it's pushed me to be the best that I can be and to show up the best version of myself. So that's why it's important to me. It's important to me to show people, and you know, if something doesn't go your way at first, don't give up. Work hard and go after it again. And it's not always about winning or losing and fighting. It's about going in there and giving it your best and then learning and growing and evolving and trying again and trying again and trying again. That's it. To me, it's about showing people, you know, things aren't always going to go your way, and how do you respond in that moment? You know, what do you make changes? Do you learn? Do you grow? Do you train harder? Do you surround yourself with good people? Do you put your life in God's hands and understand that if it's God's will, it will be done? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what I want. If it's God's will, it will be done. I know what my heart desires, and I put it in God's hands. If it's your will, let it be done.
Yeah, I mean, you're going up against a really good fighter who's going up against the new and improved Ron Marshall.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to ask exactly what we expect to see from you that night, but I know it's going to be something we haven't seen.
Yeah.
If you could give advice to any, you know, future fighter, what would you tell them? What would you advise them?
If I can give an advice to any future fighter, it would be to trust in yourself, believe in yourself, understand that you're capable of more than even what you know. Put God first in your life. Okay, put God first in your life, and everything else will come together. And when you do that, make good choices, have good daily habits, good training habits, good eating habits, get the proper amount of rest, um, fuel yourself correctly. You know, and that's not just vitamins, supplements. You know, your proteins. It's not just that. We're talking about mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. You know, don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Um, understand that you can do anything you want in this life. You just have to believe in yourself.
Before we conclude with this interview, do you have any shout outs?
Yes. Thank you for asking. First off, thank you for having me on this podcast. I really appreciate it. Always been a big fan. I know we've always ran into each other at different promotions, and you taking fight photos and everything like that. And so it's been an honor to be able to be on this podcast with you. Um, I'd like to thank Derek Moore, Greg Ambrose, Mike Williams. These are some of the people that I work with and my workforce community that have sponsored me along during this fight and really helped me out. And I'd like to thank my wife, my daughter. I love them. I love my family. I'd like to shout out the Prison Yoga Project, who I'm now getting involved with. I'm going to go and be able to make an impact inside the system and try to help people while they're in there, and then help them when they get out of there as well. So I'm getting involved with that project. I'd like to thank God for everything, and just understand that I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be able to have this opportunity. Thank you, Cage Titans, and thanks Ozzy for taking this fight. You know, I know Mike was shopping this fight for me to a bunch of people, and he took the fight. So thank you for him. Thank you to his team. Um, thank you to everyone who supports me. I appreciate it. And for the ones that don't, thank you too, because you're one of the reasons why I'm still here. So
Yes. Thank you. We have a comment from Morokai. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but they commented, "You can do it."
what's the name?
Morokai. Let me see. Can you see it?
Yes. I don't know who that is, but thank you very much. I shared it to my Facebook, and so if I'm saying I don't know who it is, I'm sorry. Maybe they have one of those names that's
Yes.
not your regular name. So thank you very much. I believe I can do it too. I do, and I say that wholeheartedly. And we'll see what happens. Anything can happen in a fight, but thank you.
Ron, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you to your wife and your daughter for joining us. I know I hear your daughter in the background, and I know your wife is not too far behind, and
Sophie, you
she's your number one support system.
want to say? Yeah, she is. She's on the way. I think she's waiting for her in the window. You want to say, you want to say anything to the people before we go?
Um,
Or you want to say anything to Agdalia? Say thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. It was nice chatting with you. We appreciate your
You're
time.
welcome. Does she have any motivating words for you before your fight
Sophie,
as you prepare?
do you have anything you want to say to me before this fight? Any motivating words for me?
I'm gonna make a sign.
She's gonna make a sign for me. She said, "That's how cute."
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, we look forward to seeing your sign.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. She has one thing she wants to do, and this is something that we've been doing together since she was very young. You ready?
When I was 2.
Since she's been 2, and she's never forgot it. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Banging on a trash can, drumming on a street light. One little voice keeps calling me, calling me. One little voice keeps calling me, saying, "You gotta think big, na 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 na. You gotta think big, na 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 na. You gotta think big, na 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 na. You gotta think big."
Awesome. That's a great way to end the show. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you. You're
Have a
welcome.
great.
God bless you. You
God
too.
bless.